Please.
Amazing. Can I do it too?
Perfect. Have you heard the old saying, don't judge a book by its cover? But that's what people do, right? We judge everything by outward appearances. In my experience, a great album cover can make or break the decision on whether I buy an album. So go on a journey with me as we look at some great album cover designs and talk about why I believe that you need a personal designer for your album artwork. This is Judged by the Cover. Hey everybody, welcome to the Judged by the Cover podcast. I'm Josh.
I'm Phil.
And we have a very special episode today. As you can see, we are in a very different location than we normally are. We are hanging out at Wavelength Space or Wavelength Studio. Goes by both names, right?
Well, it is a recording studio and an art gallery.
And a space.
Yeah, and we are currently in the art gallery side. So we've got some beautiful paintings behind us. And we're here because we have a special guest. So we are doing our first interview in a long time. It's been, I don't know that we've done an interview together with somebody else.
We haven't.
But we have Teni Rane with us today.
Teni!
So she's here to talk about herself. But also, Teni has a new album that's coming out on September 3rd.
September 4th.
September 4th.
The album release party is September 3rd. And that's over at Redbud on 13th Street. And then the album itself releases the following day on Friday, September 4th.
Awesome. So, Teni, for those who may not know who you are, give us the quick elevator pitch. Who's Teni? What kind of music you make? All that kind of fun stuff.
Well, Phil has my bio.
I know. Here, inside of Teni Rane's songs, you'll likely encounter Appalachian songbirds, white oaks, and wildflower fields.
Yes. So I am a folk artist. I grew up in Chattanooga and then was away for several years exploring lots of other things. And now I'm back here and I'm more focused on music than I have really ever been, which I'm very excited about. And I suppose, as Phil alluded to in that little funny snippet of my bio, I do take a lot of inspiration from just the world around me, from the natural world, but also from the relationships and the happenstances and the circumstances that we find ourselves in. And so my first album, Goldenrod, which came out a couple of years ago, in August of 2024, so exactly a couple of years ago, was more geared towards that side of looking at the cycles of nature and what we can learn if we kind of sit back and get quiet enough to let ourselves notice and pass through those seasons more gracefully. And then this upcoming album, Never Turning Back, kind of took a little bit of a turn more towards like looking at our man-made environment and the places that we occupy as humans. So some of those are geographic places. There's definitely still some inspiration from natural world stuff in there, and from nature, but more looking at not just geographical place, but also kind of social place, cultural place, emotional spaces and places that we occupy through the course of life. So I really like to write about lighthearted, really, fun topics. No, a lot of my writing is very, very introspective, and there is joy and adventure and brightness in this new album, but there's also a lot of moments of just considering like inflection points in relationships and what it means to be connected or disconnected from your own heritage and like all of these different things like that. So I don't know, that's where I'm at and I like it.
Yeah. Nice. Such an interesting background. I mean, I want to learn more about were you born in the States or you, in your bio, it says you're from Algeria or
No, my mom's is Armenian.
Armenian.
Yes. So I was born here. She moved here in the 80s and I was born in the States. So was my sister. And a lot of our cousins were born in the Middle East still, but most of her family kind of relocated outside of the Middle East over the course of her kind of young adult life. And so I grew up here and unfortunately don't speak any of my mother's tongues, which is very sad, but lots of my cousins do. And so it was always like interesting to be at family reunions and just be like, I don't know what's going on. No idea. But that plays a big part in this album of just kind of like, there's a couple of tracks specifically, Secondhand Memories and then Soil on My Soul, just kind of working on answering that question of like, what does it mean to build a home? What does a home feel like? Is it the place that you are currently? What aspects of it come from places that maybe you've never seen or been, but that influence you through the lives of the other people that you're kind of interacting with? So it's odd and weird to consider all of those things, but it's been really eye-opening and interesting also to have more intentional conversations with my mom about how different our young adult lives have been and childhoods. And it's been really fun and been a way to just get to know her and myself a little bit better.
Right. Because there were turbulent times in the 80s, probably even in the 70s. I lived in Los Angeles, and there was a big migration of Armenians that came to Los Angeles.
Glendale.
Glendale.
So I have family in Glendale.
Yeah, of course.
Of course. I have family in Glendale and in Tarzana. And that whole area. Yeah.
Oh, that's a whole other conversation. Stick to the record.
No, this is awesome because it is a big part of it. Like you brought up, one of my favorite tracks on the album is Secondhand Memories. And before we get too far ahead of ourselves, but I love that like introspection that you're talking about, and you definitely hear it through the record. So I met you through Phil. So Phil played a songwriting contest. That was probably around that 2 years ago, whenever the other album came out. I think that's about right.
Yeah, about right. Yeah, 24 probably.
Yeah, somewhere in there.
Somewhere in there.
24.
And then I ran into you at there was like a music business thing that Yellow Racket helped.
I was there too.
Yeah. So that's where I met you, and you showed us like that you had your vinyl there, and you even signed it for Phil. And so I think that's where we got connected. But I was really honored when you reached out and said, "Hey, I'm working on a new record. I need some direction." And so we're talking about.
You want to look at it?
Yeah, let's bring it up here.
You want to look at her?
So we've got Never Turning Back, Teni Rane. And we worked on this together.
We did, and then she pretty.
Oh, man. Knocked it out of the park, you guys. You knocked it out of the park.
So let's talk about the record. When did you start working on this? And so I guess first and foremost, I want to say, working with you operate like a total pro. Like
also read Total Psychopath.
No, for real. But like, you knew exactly what you wanted. You had your ducks in a row. Like you had a vision for what you thought you saw for like the cover art, from the music and stuff like that. But like you just came with like hands open, just like, hey, let's see what this turns out to. So it was a really fun project. But like, when did you start on this record? Kind of where did that come from? All that kind of fun stuff.
Sure. So as you said, I usually have a plan. And I think when we sat down for the first time, I was like, oh yeah, and like all these other albums I want to do. Josh was like, oh gosh, she's a monster. So I started on this album, I guess really the seed of it, which is funny because this song didn't make the final cut for the album. It's a single that was released and had the vision of like being part of this, but ended up, after the writing process continued, not being the right fit.
Yeah.
So the idea of this album was born in 2022, which was even before Goldenrod was started on.
Wow.
When I was living in Sweden. I guess actually it was before that. I'm a liar. So 2022 was when I revisited it with a couple of other songs. Meet Me in Stockholm, which was the seed of this album, was written in 2016.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
Yeah. So what I'm saying is, y'all, it takes a while, but keep doing it.
Incubator
the
style.
incubator is real. So I wrote Meet Me in Stockholm when I was living and playing soccer abroad in Sweden. And that was kind of the first track. And I was like, oh, it'd be really cool to have the opportunity someday to write a bunch of songs that were about the places that you've been and the way they've shaped you and all these things. And so that song kind of joined the I guess, coterie of a couple of other songs, one of which is on here called Arkansas. And that was kind of just a passing fancy at the time, really, because I was playing that season and then I was coming back and I was going straight to work for a really large chemical company and doing like the engineering thing. And I didn't, at that time, I didn't even think, I would ever actually have the opportunity or the chance to record my music. I was just like, this is a thing and like, it'd be cool, but kind of whatever, Can
I just interject? It sounds like you were a professional in these three aspects: athlete, engineer, and artist.
Yes. Yeah.
That's so wild.
I've had a very varied experience. And I love that. I think it's really wonderful. And also overwhelming sometimes to kind of wrap my head around all the pieces and parts of. But right now, mostly I'm really focusing on music. And then I do still work outside of music as well, not in engineering. We can talk about that later. But so that was when that kind of like started. And then I didn't really have a chance to do anything with that until in 2019, I was like, man, I really want to just try recording something. And so I did. And that's when the Heart in Tennessee EP got started. Unfortunately, the person that I was working with originally just disappeared.
Oh no!
We had finished recording it,
and
then I don't know what happened. I think he had a really, really horrible mental breakdown and just disappeared.
Did he disappear with your master tapes?
Oh yeah, everything.
Oh,
it was all gone. It was all gone. And so I had a choice at that moment, right? I was like, okay, either the universe is telling me, don't do this, you're stupid, or I'm still a really headstrong, hard-headed, persistent little girl, and I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna figure this out. And so I restarted that process during 2020, which was wild because I was working with a friend and we were just in his home studio. And I was on one end of the room, he was on the other. And so we started on that and kind of remade that whole EP. And then that was when I finally finished that and released it, I was like, oh, okay. I learned so much about how to do that better and I want to do it better. I was just
fell in love with the process.
Yeah, I was like, I want to do it over and over and just get better every time. And so then at that time, the wheels kind of started turning. I stepped away from engineering in 2022. I went back to Sweden. And at that point I recorded Meet Me in Stockholm. And then I was like, okay, I'm going to do an album kind of all around this idea of place. But there was a lot of other things going on in life. And so Goldenrod was born first.
Interesting.
And Meet Me in Stockholm was kind of I'm going to get to that next.
Yeah. Isn't it funny how you hold songs in your brain? That's your little catalog that's just stewing away.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
Yeah.
And real quick, when you were playing soccer, was it the kind of experience where you'd come home in the evening and you'd go to your guitar as a place to rest or just kind of take a mental break? Yeah. And then it turned into more?
Yeah, it really was. So my older sister used to play and write quite a bit and sing out and do things. And we did some stuff together through kind of my high school years. Mostly we were doing benefit concerts and working with small organizations and raising money and doing things like that. And in college, we I didn't have, you can imagine playing SEC Division I sports while also studying chemical engineering. There was not a lot of time outside of those two things. Like that was what I was doing.
Yeah.
All the time. And the way I kept music alive in those years was that we had, I don't know if it's fair to say required, but we had community service hours as student athletes that we were strongly encouraged to complete.
Strongly encouraged.
Strongly encouraged to complete. And you could kind of figure out, like, you could do whatever you wanted. And so I chose to go in the springtime, because fall was just chaos with travel and everything. But in the springtime, when it was just spring training, we had less travel tournaments or not tournaments, that's like high school, but less travel, like weekend engagements, like conference play on the road and stuff. So in the springtime, I would go once a week to Seven Hills Homeless Center, and I would play at lunch. And nice. I would just be there and I would play. And it was really lovely because it was super low stakes. The people really enjoyed it. I was always like, these were people who really were struggling, right?
Yes. Yeah.
And yet they would like come up with like a handful of quarters and like try to give me tips. Beautiful. And I was like, y'all, stop. It was so sweet. So I spent pretty much every spring doing that. And I didn't have time to like practice or anything. Like I would just show up with my guitar and be like, I'm playing some stuff. I don't know. So covers, originals, whatever it was. But that was kind of how I kept music alive. And I did some benefit concerts for Seven Hills throughout that time, mostly like junior and senior year. And then when I started working, I really forgot that I owned a guitar.
Oh my gosh.
I didn't play ever. I didn't play ever because I was in a new city and I was trying to like be a big kid. Just trying to keep your head above water, starting a pretty high stakes, stressful engineering job. So I just didn't get around to guitar much. And then in 2018, one of my really good friends kind of, I guess, found out that I used to play and kind of bumped me until I did like Kingsport, where I was living, had I think it was the first Thursday of the month, and it was called the Kingsport Sip and Stroll. And the businesses downtown would stay open late, and a lot of them would have music, and they would have, wine and cheese. And it just kind of encouraged people who worked full time that couldn't like go to those downtown shops during normal business hours to have a chance to like get out. So she kind of like drug me into playing a few of those. And then I was like, oh man, like that dream of recording stuff, like that thing. And
you felt that flame.
So then that kind of cascaded into the 2019 fiasco of recording Heart in Tennessee, et cetera. So
yeah. Well, I would imagine it's also, you probably had special interactions, not just with the clients at that food pantry or whatever. What was Seven Hills
Homeless Center. So it was a day shelter.
Yeah. So you had that human connection, people reacting to your music. Yeah. And then when you're up in Kingsport, the same thing. So that reignited your love for it.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that is a big part of it, is like I haven't always been the best. I'm getting better, but I haven't always been the best at like following the thing that feels right, if that makes sense. It's like, I'm doing this thing because I know that it is right. Like, this is what I'm expected to do. I'm expected to like do this thing and get this degree and like go do the stuff. And I was very good at all of that. I was very, very good at all of that. And so it's really difficult to, even if it's not something that is like filling you up. And I think this happens for a lot of people. It's like, you continue doing the thing that you're good at, even though it's draining you. because you're just like, well, but I'm good at it. So like I'm supposed to do it, right?
Yeah.
And I'm really fortunate to have, I know I have so much more to learn and so much room to grow as an artist, as a musician, as a writer, all of these things. But I do finally feel like I'm in a place where it's like, not only am I good at it, it is also really inspiring and connective and fun and like not always fun, right? Like some days it's really hard.
You have a lot. We know you have a lot of on the road songs. Like I got 100 more miles to go until I get home. I'm so beat.
But I'm glad and I'm lucky, and I hope that for as many people as possible in the world. I think that when we finally get to land in not only the thing that we are good at, but the thing that is also life-giving, and we create a happier world. And I think that's important. Because there's a lot of challenging chaos that surrounds us. So.
1,000%.
And chasing the dollar is always it's a tough game.
100%.
It's a tough game. And everyone has to figure out how to make it work, and it's not usually pretty, right? Like there's messy back end stuff that's like trying to figure out all the pieces and parts. And I think that work is really valuable for the getting to hold it.
Yeah. And that's, I know you've got a question, and then I know I've got a question about what you just said.
Yeah.
Go for it.
Okay. I do know that there's a lot of administrative work when you make an album. So it's not, we know it's like so much fun to be in the studio. You're doing your art's coming to life. You're multi-tracking, you're harmonizing. You've got fiddle players, everyone, all your buddies are there.
Yeah.
But then there's a fair amount of arduous,
the promotion side.
Promotion and admin.
Yeah.
Talk to me a little bit, because I don't know if a lot of artists think about that. I think a lot of artists might be quick to get out the single, but they don't realize there's like a lot of metadata. You have to register if you really want to be a professional, like with a performing rights organization like BMI or CSAC or ASCAP here in the North America. And you also want to copyright it with the Library of Congress, right? Have you done all these things?
Yes, for the most part. So the one thing I have not done, and I'm kind of weighing the pros and cons right now. So registering your copyright is a step that you can take. You own your copyright from the moment of creation. And so it's just like basically asking another entity to recognize, like, hey, I have this thing. Like, give me my own permission, right? So I have considered doing it just now, where there is so much consternation, I guess is a good word, about AI training on artists' catalogs without their knowledge. However, even within that, like what I've kind of looked into, it doesn't really matter if you have a copyright.
They'll ingest it anyway.
They're doing it anyway. There was really recently, in the last day or so, a really important case. Speaking of PROs, the big PRO in Germany, GEMA, I think they say GEMA.
Yeah.
They just won a really, 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 really important kind of precedent-setting case against Suno.
Oh, wow.
Which is a big deal.
Yeah.
A really big deal. And so that makes me feel quite hopeful and sparkly because it has been such a kind of bleak outlook so far. So I have not done the like official register with the copyright office.
Right.
Yeah.
But I have done all of the other things.
Yeah.
And yes, it is. It's really, really helpful and important to be part of a PRO. I'm with BMI.
Yes.
And that has worked fine for me. I think that there's not really all that much difference between all of them. Of course, CSAC is invitation only, and so you can't just join CSAC. But in between BMI and ASCAP, they are both really good at what they do. They're large organizations. There's more PROs now coming onto the scene, which is interesting. And, I'm all for non-monopolies,
Right.
and these smaller PROs that are kind of trying to bust into the space are making it really difficult on venues and on people licensing music,
Right.
because now they're coming to the table and saying like, well, you owe me stuff too. And it's like, okay, but what's the likelihood that your catalog of 100 artists is going to like show, you know, like, so it's just a very different, it's a very, very different thing. But yes, there is a whole list of, you know, you have to have your ISRCs for your songs. You have to register them with your PRO. You have to figure out who you want to use as a distributor, and then have kind of some sort of release plan and strategy, because it doesn't work anymore to release an album.
Right.
And then it also doesn't really, like, on the other side of it though, it also doesn't work to like only do singles, because people do like to see some sort of like cohesive thing.
Right.
A piece.
A piece, something that's like and mostly, honestly, like that's the consumer side, but that's also the promotion side. So if you're working with people who are in the PR world, there are some people who will promote singles, and I've been fortunate to work with them on like my holiday singles that are, you know, another album that we've talked about that's going to happen someday. someday. But for the most part, when you're going to radio, or when you're going to, for me, folk radio, when you're going to folk DJs, when you're going to PR for, you know, trying to get an interview with Glide magazine or any of those things, they want to see an album. They want to see a cohesive effort on something. And so it also doesn't work for certain goals to only be releasing singles. If your goal is like, I just want to get as many Spotify streams as I want, it might work to just do single after single on that 5 or 6 week cadence and just go. But if, like, depending on what your goals are, neither one of those by itself works anymore. You can't just drop an album and be like, I did it.
It's there.
But you also can't just like rely on only singles, because there's this kind of like sweet spot bridge of trying to make all of those pieces do work for you instead of just working yourself to death, which is easy to do as an independent artist. So I did a whole long string. I did 6 total singles off of this. So half basically. And I started releasing those in February of this year, because you have to kind of understand and know like what industry standards are in some cases, but also what different platforms respond to, and what is helpful and what is just busy work. Yeah. And that's really hard, because you might, and things change so quickly. That's like something that used to be helpful. You spend all this time doing it, and then you like get done with it and you're like, oh, well, that used to not be busy work, but now it is. And okay, great. All right. Next. Right? So you also kind of have to be a little bit made of Teflon, because those moments come a lot, and you just have to sort of say, okay, next.
But it's such a beautiful piece. I mean, I've been watching your whole rollout, and even today it was cool to watch your Instagram where you're showing the packaging of these mailers are going to be shipped with the album, and you're inserting some other additional goodies.
Yeah. Josh has his right here, but maybe he'll open for us.
There we go.
Unboxing.
Unboxing video.
Well, Josh, what's on your mind? I know you've got some more questions.
Yeah, no, it was a really fun process working for you, because like I said, you had a plan and you knew like the things. And I never really had to like ask for stuff. Like you had already like planned out, like even talking about how you were talking about like working with the radio DJs. You're like, okay, the CD, cover has to have the name of
these things,
and it's got to have the length of the song, and like all these like specific details that like sometimes when you're like asking an artist, like, okay, what do we need to have on the back? They're like, well, I don't know, like maybe the names of the songs, but like you had like a roadmap that made it really easy to work with. So it was just really cool, because generally, I think creatives tend to be the, I don't know, I'm just creating stuff, right? They don't have that logistical kind of background. And now knowing, because like when we first started working together, I didn't know that you had this whole like past as like an engineer. Yeah. But like after the fact, I'm like, oh yeah, that makes total sense.
Oh, she likes spreadsheets.
So let's talk about the album cover since we're here. It was really cool because you kind of gave me an open book. You kind of had some ideas as far as like you had this theme of like a kaleidoscope, and you wanted to be able to talk about like places, not just as in like like the specific like physical places, but like what are the ways that you said it?
Emotional, cultural, social.
Yes, those things.
Yeah.
Don't you love it when your brain just like puts that roadblock, says no?
It happens.
And so, but you kind of gave kind of an open book, like let's kind of see what we can come up with. And when we initially started, I just had this like idea of like a storybook because like you're writing, some of the themes in the songs just had like a story quality to them.
Yeah. And we talked about like chapters.
Yeah. And then I think somewhere in the process, you brought up the whole idea of the stained glass because you had a piece from your mom. Is that right?
From my grandma.
From your grandma.
Yeah. But on just like a whole. Yeah, I love stained glass.
And so it was really
other piece.
It was really cool to be able to take this idea of like a kaleidoscope, but like story and stained glass, and to put it into a piece that kind of shares the story of like the album and the songs without like just like saying it.
Yeah. And that was what was so fun. So with this, we sort of had the chance to do a lot of that. So one of the things that I did early on was kind of go through the imagery. So we talked about, there's always like images in songs. It's kind of a like show me, don't tell me idea. And so we went through and was like, well, here's some of the images and like, how do we bring that together? And so that was kind of when then the panels were born, and like this idea of, so the sun came back because Heart in Tennessee comes back a little bit on this album. And then kind of the roads, we talked a lot about, there's a lot of movement and travel and kind of transport, both physically by means, right, by car or boat or whatever, but also like from emotional place to emotional place. And so there's that metaphor in there as well. The rose comes up in a couple of different songs, including Secondhand Memories. And so we kind of had this idea of like these panels that captured between them, right, quite a few of the songs together. And then that kind of came together around something. And so it was really fun to also be able, what I loved about where we ended up was that we're also able to take those different panels and they were the single artwork.
That was such a brilliant move.
Yeah, I love that. And that idea came from a really wonderful old-time friend of ours that was my sister's piano teacher when we were growing up and is on faculty at MTSU in their recording school of audio engineering, or so I can't remember the title, but Joseph Aiken's wonderful contemporary piano player and composer. And he did a record several years ago now that was so cleverly rolled out, in that it was a 9-piece collage, but it's not a collage because it's one image, but each of the pieces of the singles, each of the squares was a piece of that picture that when you put it all together, you saw like, oh, it's this one tree, but each of the squares was like either a different season or a different character from one of the songs. Yeah. And so it was all, when you put it together, it was obviously all the same tree, but it was totally different. Like
times.
Colors and times and seasons and characters in all the panels. And so I was like, that's brilliant. And so I was really excited about kind of trying to recreate that in my own way. And so the panels worked out really deliciously for that.
You guys hit it out of the park. It's so cool to see it. Because I know like when you first called Josh, because we worked together so much, I was like, yes. And then to watch the process, and I obviously didn't see the minutia everyday stuff, but to be sitting here now with this finished album, and it's like you put so much thought into it, both of you guys. I mean, just that those hours put into not just the writing and recording of the songs, but there's so much effort. So, I mean, it does seem like a culmination of, is it 3 years?
Yeah, probably. I mean, that's probably a good estimate, because it's definitely, you know, kind of 2 years really intentionally in the making. But then again, like the idea for it was born so many years ago, and then songs kind of came up through that idea over time. And then several of the songs were specifically written for the record in terms of finishing it, right? So it was like, here's the outline, and then what are the other chapters?
You framed the house. Now what do I need?
Yeah. So like Sail into the Dark, Secondhand Memories, Soil on My Soul, Somewhere to Drive, Driveway Conversations.
That's a good one.
Thank you. I love that one.
Yeah.
Those were all very specifically penned to fill out the frame of the house.
Yeah.
And I guess so was As I Walk Home. And then the other ones kind of had like come to being around this idea, but didn't like fully gel yet until the rest of them came together.
Are some of these songs like road tested? You know how a lot of artists, they'll be on the road for a while and they'll have a song idea and they write it, and it just doesn't land when you're playing in front of a live audience. Did you go through that process?
No, not for all of them. So yes and no. So the ones that were written specifically for the album have really so far have been played live a very few number of times, which is terrifying.
I know you did a video series. You would do live videos.
Yes. So we did do, as we were recording the album, they were intense days. And I'm just so grateful to the guys for putting up with my shenaniganery, because as Josh knows, like I come into things and I'm like, okay, y'all, this is
what we're doing.
This is what we're doing. This is the plan. This is the timeline. And like, we're going to get it done. And I am so fortunate to work with some really, really amazing, just like super pro people. And so at the end of every day, we had a videographer come in, and the songs that we worked on in the studio that day, we captured as live single take video recordings to accompany the album. And I am so glad that we did it. And it was so exhausting and like so wonderful. Like it just was the best thing ever. But also like, I just remember I was just like apologizing over and over to them. I was like, I know that y'all are tired. I am too, but like, we have got this.
We gotta do it.
Like, we have got this.
I booked this lady to come in and shoot this thing. We're doing it.
So we have to do it. And so, they have been performed in front of the camera, and some of them have been played live. Some of them have still never been played live.
Incredible. I love that.
So that'll be September 3rd.
Kind of a true studio album with some road tested songs.
Yes.
And is it true with Goldenrod? Did you get some kind of Grammy recognition, or did you submit to the Academy on that? I don't want to go back in time.
No, that's fine. So I was so pleased that, yes, it did make it into the first round of voting. So it did not get a Grammy nomination, but it was in the pre-nomination phase, which is also quite a big deal.
Yeah.
Because so much stuff, like there are so many amazing people putting out amazing work every moment, every day.
Right.
And so it was really quite cool to have Goldenrod in that pre-nomination round. So the way that kind of works is there's the open not enrollment, that's insurance.
Right.
Wow.
That's your health coverage. Dental, vision, and medical.
Open enrollment.
Yeah, it's open enrollment.
Online entry process. Sorry, same acronym.
And now I'm worried I got to redo my healthcare.
It's coming up. It's like it'll be in October, November. So keep an eye on that, everybody. But no, so the online entry period happens, and all eligible works are submitted during that time. And then there is it's a kind of adjudicated round that goes through all of those submissions and checks them for not legality. What's the word we want here?
Well, they meet all the criteria of the
that
academy.
They meet the criteria of the
Right.
academy,
Yeah.
that they are, that also the artist meets the criteria
Right.
of the academy, because you have to have some sort of like history and catalog of like, I'm actually doing this thing, and I'm not just some person using Suno and creating an album.
Yes.
I don't have feelings about that. I don't know what you're talking about.
That's another episode.
Let's talk about AI, y'all.
Yeah.
But
we'll do that one up in Nashville.
So it goes through like this kind of committee, and then you get notified if you've made it into that first round. So first round of voting happens in the fall. And then from that's when the nominations are announced. So it's like the 6 top projects in each category are then the Grammy nominations. And then in late fall, there's another round of voting, and then that is what is selected for the February awards show.
My hat's off to you on that. I mean, I think that just it speaks volumes about who you are as an artist.
Yeah.
It just says that I'm really, really persistent.
You have to be.
I'm just hard-headed.
No one's going to do that for you.
No one's going to do that for you.
No one's going to do that.
And I did, I had I think that a lot of us artists and creative types, like we have a lot of reservations about like putting ourselves out there, like who am I to? And I totally went through all of that, and I'm fortunate to be part of my kind of musical home is folk, and so I'm part of Folk Alliance International. And at the time I was not a voting member of the Academy. I am now, but I was not at the time I was going through that, and so I couldn't submit for myself, but Folk Alliance International can submit on your behalf. But it still requires that you have the gusto and the gumption and the moxie to be like, I'm going to do it. Like, I'm going to put this thing forward and see if it passes muster. Right. And so that was really cool. And I was honestly flabbergasted because there's so many ins and outs of all of that, and you have no idea who's on the other side of it, like who's on the committee, all the things. And there's a lot of, questioning and self-doubt, because again, we talked about like there are so many incredibly talented people doing so many incredible projects. And so it's like, what's goldenrod compared to everything else that could possibly out there. And so I do hope to be able to reprise that next year. With this album, it will be outside of the eligibility window because that ends at the end of August.
Right.
And so it will be in next year's eligibility window. Gotcha. But I am putting forward a few of the singles for like Best American Roots Song and Best American Roots Performance. So we'll see. They may not make it through to that pre-nomination phase, but I think a lot of it is just continuing to show up for yourself, right? And to prove that you're willing to show up and like do the thing, and some days it'll go through and it'll be crazy because you'll be like, what? Like, how is my album in pre-nomination round for the Grammys? Yeah. But you just kind of have to keep your finger on the pulse of it and like know what you want and believe in what you're working on. I know I'm not the best and I know I'm not the most talented, but I work hard and I want to get better. And so I'm just going to keep doing it.
I've seen you play live and you're so committed and you're just so invested. And my wife and I have seen you live twice. I think the first song I ever heard was Goldenrod at Gate 11 during Tennessee Songwriter Week. So Josh, what do you think?
It's such a cool, it's cool to see like you put in the effort and like I'm going to go after and do it. And that was what was like fun about this project for me, because this was like really outside of my wheelhouse as far as like the detail. I have more of like a stripped back design usually. Yeah. And like this,
I asked for everything.
And so like as it like came together and grew, I'm just like, wow, like the color, and I love it. It was like really fun to get outside of that, like just that comfort box, because we can kind of get in these like little boxes and like, this is what I like, this is what I know I'm good at. And so a project like this, and the scale too, because you know, it wasn't just the cover art, it wasn't just the 6 singles that we had to put together, but it was like a full vinyl layout, which
the labels are in there too.
And we've got labels in here too. With labels, and we'll probably get some actual pictures on the video itself. And then a full CD with an opening.
Yes, CDs are back.
CDs are back.
That's what I'm gonna buy.
Okay.
September 3rd at Redbud. Hold me a CD.
And so it was really fun. It was a project that got me outside of my comfort zone, but it was just a lot of fun to have, like, you know, a chance to work on a project like this.
What's up, Zero?
And so just really grateful for you.
We are in a live recording studio, by the way.
A live recording studio.
It's real.
It's real. And an art gallery with these beautiful paintings by Chase Williamson.
Chase Williamson, yeah.
All right, carry on.
Where were we? We were talking about.
There's a lot of pieces and parts, and I think you know I appreciate that, because I felt that a little bit. I knew I was like asking a lot. I was like, hey, and then not only all that, Josh, but I need the design to also be deconstructible so that I can use it in all of these different ways.
Oh my gosh, all the things, all the socials.
So I really, I asked for big.
And so I think this is a good place to ask this question. So getting to work with you on this project, tell me about the process. How was it working with me, JW Creates? How was that process for you? Was it easy? Was it hard? What did you think about the deliverables? Just kind of as a whole, what did that look like for you?
Yeah. Well, I will say that it was hard, but not because of you. It was difficult because as an independent artist, you are so used to like taking everything on and making sure that everything gets done and like doing it all yourself, right? Like just doing it all your damn self.
Yeah.
And so it was really scary to bring someone else in and be like, and now I give it to you. And I hope that. I like it, you know? Like it's terrifying because you're like, if you make something that you don't like, you're like, well, I'll try again.
We're going back to the drawing board.
But it's really, really, really kind of overwhelming. And there's so many aspects of that happen in an album. But I really wanted this to have a visual identity that was eye-catching, right? That was like right and fit it. And I had so much, I want so much for this album, and I wanted so much for it visually, that it was just like, oh my gosh, and now I'm giving it away.
Yeah. I feel that.
And so that was what was really difficult about it. I really appreciated that we were able to talk kind of so openly, and that I was able to, I hope, gracefully give feedback
100%
as we moved through, because it's always one of those, is like, and the first time you see something, you just have like a reaction to it,
right?
Yeah,
and you like don't, and you're like, I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
And just to be really transparent, we went through like a lot of iterations, and there was a couple of times where I didn't say exactly, but basically it was like, Josh, I don't like this. Like, I don't. Mercy. I'm not like this is.
I gave you permission to from the beginning.
This isn't quite that. Like we're like moving in the right direction, but we need to like left turn a little bit.
Yeah.
And so it was so awesome also to like, after I got used to the idea,
right?
It was so awesome to also like just be able to relax into the idea that like someone else was also excited about it and invested in it, and like and saw what I wanted, and like we just hadn't arrived there yet, but that we were like going in the same direction. That was really lovely. And I think you know, I know that I am a demanding person. I am very aware of it. And And I know that this project was, like a big one, and it asked a lot, but I love where we ended up. And what I love the most about it is that I wouldn't have gotten here without working with someone else. And that feels really important, because it's like when you're working with someone else, like you're hoping for an additive experience,
right?
You know,
right?
Like, you're not hoping to like come up with something that you would have come up with.
Like,
yes,
you're hoping to come up with. You're hoping to come up with like an even better idea, and like through the process. And like finally getting to the place of like the panels and all this stuff, it was because we kept having those conversations, and it was because I kept saying, but I need this out of it. Like, how do we get there?
How do we get there?
You got to fight for it.
And so that was awesome. And all the little pieces and parts, I've been able to like take this central piece and use it on different things, and take the border and use that to like add that visual identity and texture to like even like the song by song and the thank you cards and my business cards and like all of these different things that are assets that you have to have.
You have to. Yeah.
And so, it was a terrifying process, but it was also lovely. And I am much more, I think, also in the space of like, I am capable of that, like that type of like trusting collaboration.
Giving that trust away.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because that's something that when you've invested so much time and energy and effort and dollars into something, it's like really overwhelming to be like, and now here you go.
Yeah.
Treat her nice.
And you're just praying the return is going to be a home run. What was that timeline? How long was the process with these iterations? Are we talking weeks or months?
It had to have been like October. Or was it before?
You really only had a couple months.
Because
I think it was like it needed to be done by Christmas.
Yeah, it was Christmas was the deadline. And I feel like we had.
And I think we started at the beginning of October.
I think that's right.
And I stressed you out. I was like, not yet, not yet, not yet. And I was like, okay, it's December. And you were like, we're going to get there.
Oh, boy.
I think it did end up going a little bit past that just for like the final tweaks and for like the singles and stuff like that. But so it was fine. 2-3 months.
Yeah.
Probably
so now that it's out and it drops, what's the drop date for the album?
September 4th, 2026.
4th. Okay. And that's a Friday.
That's a Friday. It's also Bandcamp Friday.
Ooh. And I visited your Bandcamp page. Are you going to tour?
A little bit. So touring is, as you may have guessed, if you've listened to some of the songs, not my favorite part of being an artist.
You don't like being away too long.
I love my home. I love my home. I love my cat. I love my community. Yeah. I love, getting to like go to my monthly lunch with my family. Like or my weekly lunch with my family. Yeah. I love my routine and I love my space. And I'm more settled and rested and creative in those spaces.
Yeah.
Right.
And so I'm attached.
That's okay. That's okay.
But I do have some tour dates on the books for the back half of this year. So starting mid to late September. So the album release, and then starting on September 18th, there's a run of things through the end of September, a couple of things in October. And what I'm trying for more than anything else is like, how do I do the high value things that I enjoy and that are not exhausting,
right?
And still be able to give her life.
Yes.
Like
put her out in the world.
And so things that I am really excited about. I've done a lot. WDVX Blue Plate in Knoxville. That's always a wonderful program. They do a live radio, interview songs, and then that's also live streamed. So they have a really wonderful video set up. And that is helpful because you have the chance to reach a broader audience.
Right.
And then the other thing I'm really excited about, I was invited back to Woodsong's live radio hour, which is up in Lexington, Kentucky. It's an amazing syndicated show that's been around forever. And it's the same. It's a radio broadcast, but it's also a live TV broadcast. And then it rebroadcasts on RFD
brilliant.
TV. So it has a reach of millions,
Right.
which is really amazing.
Yeah.
And it's somewhat difficult to get on. And I was able to be invited with Goldenrod, and then I've been invited back with this. So I'm very excited for that. Michael Jonathan is a really dedicated radio host, and we're lucky to have him in Folky World. So there's house concerts and some other little things. And I do intend to do more touring next spring with the album release this year and a lot of other things that have been going on. It was just the process of routing and booking and all of that just takes so much dedicated effort. And I didn't have as much space for that as I would have liked to in this season and in this moment. And so what I'm hoping for mostly in this fall moment as this comes out is laying the groundwork with some of those like high impact things like WDVX and Woodsongs, a couple really great little house concerts, and some folk circuity stuff, and then building on that into the late spring. So March and then into like April and May. And that's kind of the goal and hope, because what I would love is to have the opportunity to get on an opening circuit, like opening for really established songwriters like Rachel Sage, Amy Speece, like those types of people in the folk world, and getting the chance to tour and learn from them.
Yes, absolutely.
That would be the dream. Like
great pathway.
I'm not attached to like being the headliner or whatever.
Right.
Like
even though you will be the headliner, it's
maybe
clear.
someday, we'll see. But I really like, I just want to learn from people and get better and grow. And I think that you do that in some ways when you're touring solo. Like you learn how to do a bunch of stuff for yourself and by yourself. I'm pretty good at that. I would love to learn some other aspects of the business and of touring and of just like living a sustainable artist life and career. And I think that being in an opening slot position would be the way to do that for like the next step of what I want.
Absolutely.
And so there's some touring. There will be more touring. Right now, I mostly prioritize weekend runs because I don't have the full flexibility or the desire to just be like on the road for 3 months at a time like that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like
that's
a
a
lot
different
of my
life.
friends do that and they love it and it gives them a lot of energy and I'm so glad for them. And they like make a living.
Yes.
They like,
Yes.
you know, like they bump by.
They're surviving.
They bump by and I'm so glad for them. And it's just also like, I don't get energy out of that.
Yeah.
Because from like, by the time you've, months in advance, like booked the thing, signed the contract, done all the stuff, gotten your logistics, booked your hotel room, blah, 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 finally driven yourself there, done the show. As an introverted person, by the time I get off that stage, I'm just like, leave me alone, please.
Oh my gosh.
But you're not allowed.
There will be no autographs tonight.
You're not like that. You can't do that. Right.
You can't.
And so, and not that I don't deeply appreciate everyone and not that I don't want to talk to every single person and like hear what they had to say about the song and how it resonated with them. Like all of that is so meaningful and beautiful. And also by the time I get to that moment after the show, that was for me, not like, oh, I showed up and listened to the show, but like was booked 6 months ago and like all of the things that it took to get there. I'm just like, I just need a bed. So, and I do think that I've also noticed that the things that are most meaningful to me are also not touring solo. Like when I've had a chance, like I'm so excited to have Dave and Phil and Rosie on stage with me on the 3rd and like have my buddies, right? Like be with friends.
Yeah.
And that is less tenable when you're traveling because now you have more people to hotel, more people to feed, more cars, like all of this stuff. And so it's this weird trade-off between like, well, do you tour solo because then you can, sleep in your car if you have to, or
Man, it just got real.
Yeah.
But like you can't ask other people to also sleep in your car with
I know.
you.
Yeah.
How big's your car?
It's like you need a bigger car for that. So it's there's all these different considerations and trade-offs. And I would love to, the way I'm kind of hoping to use my touring is to also let it be in service of my life, where it's like, oh, I want to go to this place.
Oh, that's a great idea.
How do I find a venue there
To go
and a couple of shows?
Destination
to, like, tour in and
shows.
out? Yes.
Yes.
So I think
Love it.
that's more what I'm probably going to approach my touring and travel as, because I do also attend several conferences every year, both on the folk side and then also for kind of the music industry as associated with TV and film. And so I'm on the road for those, and you have to be home at some point.
Right.
Yep.
You do. You have to live.
Because I do still work a little, like I have to make money somewhere, and y'all, this hasn't made me money yet.
No.
So if you haven't pre-ordered an album yet,
What I'm saying is
Do the pitch. Let's go.
Bandcamp Friday, September 4th. If you missed the pre-sale that happened in August, it will be re-available for purchase. And then of course at shows, I'll have several copies there on the 3rd that I'm hoping I will say adios to. I would love for them to have new homes. It's like weirdly like having a surprise, even though it's not a surprise. It's kind of like adopting a cat that then you find out it's pregnant.
Oh boy.
And then you've got like 5 kittens and you're like, please take them.
Take the cat.
Please take them. So I would love to find some new homes for all of the albums that I now am in possession of. And yeah, I guess too, is like the recording side is the side that I love. And so being able to find ways to continue to be able to invest in that, which for me right now doesn't mean touring. It means continuing to work a little bit.
Right.
Yeah.
Because that's what, like as we talked about, I have a spreadsheet.
she's got spreadsheets.
I got
Guys.
spreadsheets. Of the 5 next albums that I want to make, and
That's crazy.
And there's some fun ones in there too.
Wow. I think there's a movie in here or a Netflix special. I love it. Hi. You are crazy.
I'm a little crazy.
You are a little crazy.
A little bit.
Oh
of a
my Lord.
psychopath.
That is foresight.
Yeah. So I have plans, like I want to release an album every 2 years. Like and I know what they're going to be, and I know where I want to record them. And like all of these things.
Yeah.
And so it's a lot. There's a lot.
You have to get it out. I do know that feeling. Like you have to physically manifest these pieces of art and get it out so you can open room for the next one.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so yes, I'm how I am.
Man, thank the Lord you have Josh, because
love myself.
I don't want to spend too much time alone up here. You know what I'm saying?
I do know it.
You need a third party.
I do. Yes, I need an objective third party sometimes. There's a third party up here too, but she ain't objective. She got lots to say. So yes, it is like having collaborators on all sides of it is something that I'm working on being able to support, because I do, I know the pain of not recouping on your artistic efforts. And so it's really, really important to me to pay what I can.
You got to be smart about
to
it.
people that are doing their thing. And so for me, that means continuing to work, because because my little business that I've built around music and mindfulness and all of this, like, supports being able to, like, work with the people that I want to and be able to compensate them as fairly as I can for their time. And it's never as much as I want, right?
That's like, being a pro. You're not a dilettante. You're no longer a dilettante. You're not dabbling. Yeah, I had to throw in a $5 word.
I love that word so much.
You can't be, because I think you used a $5 word. Coterie. I think you used coterie. I'm an old English major, so that's just gonna.
I ain't got no $5 words, guys.
That's where I go.
You're doing great.
But you're no longer a dilettante. You guys are pros. This is a professional thing. I think it's great for anyone out there who is, do-it-yourself artists. Like you really, this is kind of a textbook. I know our show is about graphic art, album design, music discovery. But what else? I do have a few more questions. I know we don't want to gobble up all your time.
Right. I just have some design-oriented questions.
Go, please.
So moving from like the subject of just like never turning back, I want to talk about just design. So the first question is that we ask everybody that we do these interviews with is, as an artist, and you've kind of touched on this, so you may be reiterating some of this, but how important are the visuals, the branding, your cover art, your social media videos? How important is that for a project or for you as an artist?
So I think it's always been important. I think it's becoming even more important today because you don't get to just make an album anymore, right? You have to make all the reels and you have to blah, 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 blah. Like there's all of this stuff. And so having a cohesive visual identity is helpful for a couple of reasons for me. One of them is that it is recognizable, right? Like any sort of brand identity, because like, you're a person and you're a human and you're a creative and you're also a brand, as gross as that is. Like you also, like you have to have some sort of idea about when people see your stuff, just like when they hear your music, right? It's like there's an auditory brand, there's also a visual brand. And you have to kind of cater to that in some way to like be consistent. I think consistency is really, really huge in any profession, right? In any profession, anywhere you're showing up, some sort of consistent thing that people understand and can like relate to and see as like, oh yeah, I know what to expect-ish from this psychopathic person.
We're doing a movie for sure.
So the visual identity was really important. That was something that we spent a lot of time, even when we got to kind of the quote final design, I was very picky about the colors. I was like, no, these colors aren't right yet. These colors aren't right yet.
I kind of remember
these
that. These
colors aren't right yet. Sorry. He was probably complaining. He was like, she's insane.
He was.
Why doesn't she like this yellow? Why are these yellows different? I don't get it. So the visual, the color scheme was really, really important. And like getting that right was important because it needed to both grow from and be comfortable sitting with Heart in Tennessee and Goldenrod. Right? Like it had to be its own thing, but it had to also fit. It couldn't just be like, and now everything is pastel. Like, ugh, what?
It's not a John Mayer album.
Yeah, exactly. Or like Michael Bublé or something. I don't know. But so the visual identity is really important for that reason. But I think it's also really helpful. The other piece of that for me that's extremely helpful is I think as creatives, it's important to give ourselves guardrails. Because if you don't, you get overwhelmed by every possibility that could possibly be out there. And so I do that auditorially as well. Like when we walked in to this album, and even same thing with Goldenrod and same thing with Heart in Tennessee is like, I was very, very, because I self-produced. And so I was very, very like, these are the instruments that are available. We're not stepping outside of that. Like, I don't care if accordion would sound great on this song. It's not available.
We don't have it.
Right.
We don't have it. We're not going down that route. We are going to use what we're using here to give this song the best life that it can have. And so guardrails are really important to me and rules, for lack of a better word, about like, this is what is going to be allowed. This is where the boundary is. If we start to get outside of that, we need to course correct, because otherwise we're going to open up this whole can of worms of like, a project has to end.
Right.
A project has to end.
Yep.
And if you don't have like a set of rules that says this is when this is done, you can go on forever and never release anything.
Was there an end date for the recording process?
There was. Yeah.
Okay.
No, I was very, I was like, these are the days that we have to work on this album, and we're going to get it done.
How many days was the whole album? Tracking.
Tracking, let's see, it was 6.
6 days.
Yeah. Because we did 2 songs a day on a 12-song album.
Did you record in Tennessee or Virginia? I know you have a Virginia connection. My home state.
Goldenrod was recorded. My home state. Goldenrod was recorded in Bristol. On the Virginia side.
Thank the Lord.
On the Virginia side, this album was recorded here at Redbud. And so that is also where the release is going to be.
I can't wait, because I've never been to Redbud.
Neither have I,
wonderful.
actually.
How long has it been around?
A long time. Next year will be 10 years.
That is crazy. How do I not know this place?
Well, because it kind of started it started, and then COVID, and then lots of things changed for the space. And then in the last 4 or so years, it's really started to like step into it.
I just know it because of you. I moved here during COVID.
Yeah.
And had no clue. And then it's on the radar because of you.
You always find new places. I've never been here before.
Right.
So it's like there's your circles don't always cover every possibility.
That's right.
In the area,
even in a smaller city like Chattanooga.
In a smaller city. Yeah. I know there's so many spaces I have yet to visit musically in town, and people to meet. And like even in a couple of weeks, I'm playing with 2 new people in a jazz combo that I've never met.
I saw you doing jazz. I'm like, what are you doing? Now you're doing jazz. You are wild.
I am wild.
Now I understand what's going on up there.
I'm wild. But yes, so I think it's really important to have some guardrails. And so like for me, that is informed a lot by my own personal taste. So like jewel tones are important to me. I don't love pastels or like light colors. Purple felt really important on this album as kind of a growth point from the like maroon and yellow, like moving into a little bit of a deeper tone. I think of this album as this stained glass, but I also think of this album, and that is why I wore a denim jacket. I think of this album as purple and denim. So even in the videos that we did in studio, I wore denim in every single video.
That's right.
Yeah.
So whether it was light or dark, like there was always that kind of like blue balancing element, and we had purple lighting in the space. So there's like all of these things. I know it's
wow.
a lot.
Yeah.
We're here to help you. We really are. We're here to help you.
Did this just turn into therapy?
This is an intervention.
We have 5 more minutes, but we'll do it. We'll clearly do another episode with you.
But yeah, so those 2 things, like having a visual identity so that people have something to latch onto, but also having a visual identity that guides you towards the end product so that you're not just floundering in the possibilities of everything.
Yeah.
Because I think creativity, yes, flourishes in possibility, but is also diminished by overwhelming choice. It's kind of like, like you go to the grocery store and you're like trying to buy pasta sauce and you're just like, oh no. It's a whole aisle. What do I pick? And then you can spend too much time and then you never make dinner, right? This is the same thing. This is the same thing. And so I think that from that perspective, visual identity is really important, and it's becoming more and more important because there's so much visual media that accompanies an album. Like I knew that we had to do those in-studio videos because I was going to, like, if I wanted to give this album its best shot at life, I had to have video assets.
Yeah.
They're not optional anymore.
They're not.
No.
Like you have to do all of that stuff, which is great because you learn a lot and like you get to work with different people. And Rachel and Kelly that I worked with on those are incredible. But those things are all part of your visual identities. Like even like what you're wearing in that video is important.
Yeah.
Because nobody else, like you wouldn't have noticed that if I hadn't said I wore denim in every video, but you do notice that on some level because it's like, oh, there's a consistency to this. Even though it's different outfits and things are changing and the orientation of people in the space, it's like, but this is a person that I recognize and this is the album that's coming from. So like Goldenrod was I wore a lot of reds and yellows because that was like, even in the live in studio videos I did for that, I was wearing like a red jumpsuit and there was yellow lighting. And like, so there's all of these pieces and parts that I think about. And my head is a very weird
You think
place.
about it all too.
You're like Prince, Purple Rain. It's like a movie, and Paisley Park. It becomes a whole legacy.
Yeah.
It's gonna be awesome. Josh, how do you want to close us out?
Well, I'm going to ask one more question. I know I gave you 3, but I'm going to ask you. I'm going to ask you the last one. So, favorite album cover or album. It can go either way. But what's your favorite album cover of all time? And give us the quick why.
Okay, so I brought a thing. So favorite ever is really hard, but one that is wonderful, and I was showing Phil, it's so broken because I've had it for so long. I'm like afraid to open it because it might just fall apart. It's cracked. It should beat to hell.
Well loved.
It's well loved. It's well loved.
So Title by Fiona Apple. I listen to this so much, and there's so many albums that I love, and I wouldn't necessarily say that this is my favorite album of all time, but the album art on this, even though it's very simple, was really has been very instrumental. So you'll notice, like even on Goldenrod and then for Never Turning Back, like this close up kind of face shot. So Goldenrod had the goldenrod in front of it. Never Turning Back has that kind of storybook filter over it. But this kind of like just raw, very stripped back image of like, this is who this is. Like, here I am.
Yeah, just the eyes too.
Just the eyes too, especially the goldenrod was kind of around that. And then on the inside, so if we take a little gander, hopefully it doesn't
just a huge record too, by the way. Huge record.
And beautiful. Oh my gosh, just stunning.
I don't know it, so
it was 90s in New York City. She started in New York, but she probably tracked that in LA, but it was a mega album.
Andrew Slater was the producer. I'm not sure where it was tracked. But anyway, so, and then if you open it up, even so, not as many people are probably familiar with the artwork on Heart in Tennessee, but movement in photography is important to me, which is again why I kind of like that this is a little bit blurry. Like there's like this idea of movement to it. So Heart in Tennessee has a pretty similar hair toss image, and so this artwork from the photographic side has been pretty inspiring for me, and then just a gorgeous record. But there's so many iconic album covers, and a lot of times it's hard to say like why you love them. It's just sort of a like, oh wow, like they really like that's just striking. It's striking. And so I think that side, I wouldn't say that this is my favorite like art, but this is my favorite like photography. Photography.
We'll take it. I like it.
And then in terms of, other artists and just phenomenal albums, I have enjoyed pretty much everything Lady Gaga puts out. I love the breadth of her. So you were talking about, oh my gosh, she does jazz too. It's like, I love not having one home base. Like there's a home base, but like being able to like kind of explore and bring other things into that. And I think that's why singer-songwriter as a genre is really fun, because even on this album, there's some songs that lean a little bit more grungy rock, and there's some songs that are country, and there's some songs that like they just have these different flavors to them, and you're allowed to do that when you're a singer-songwriter because you're not writing a country album.
You're not stuck in that pop world or rock. Or
and so I really admire artists that are comfortable and intentional about like moving from, like in Lady Gaga's case, like pop to like EDM dance to like even like pop experimental, like almost like with art pop, like that was a weird record.
Standards with Tony Bennett.
Americana with Joanne, like
Rising, Star is Born with Bradley Cooper.
Like she's just able to really authentically step into all of these different spaces. She did a single with like the Rolling Stones that was phenomenal.
The Rolling Stones.
We need to dig that one up.
I think it was the Stones. Yeah. It was a big rock band. I really do think it was them. But that is amazing. And even in all of that, she's kept so much good visual identity for those sides of it. And I think that is really cool. Like the Tony Bennett records together have like their own little personalities, but obviously belong together. And then like Mayhem and Born This Way and Chromatica all kind of like, they're really different, but they all have this thing.
They live in the same home.
And so I think that those things are cool. And I think being able to really successfully be an artist and not like a pop artist or not a folk artist, but like a person who steps in and says, what does this project need to feel good and authentic, and like just do it. I love that about her. All like 5'2" of her. She's just a firecracker. Like I don't know.
I love that.
Yeah.
Well, we definitely appreciate it coming on here, talking about Never Turning Back. Give us the quick plug. Where can people buy it? Tell us about the show as well, and any other plugs where people can find you, that kind of stuff.
Perfect. So you can find me anywhere you find things online. So online. That was a weird way to say that, but here we are. So tenirane.com is kind of my home website, and that's where everything gets pointed back to. But I will have, so the pre-sale was through Bandcamp, and it will again be available on Bandcamp, shipping all over the place. I just shipped a bunch of all of the pre-orders yesterday, all over the place. So California, Michigan, Florida, Carolinas. There was one that went to Sweden, one that went to Spain. So that was really cool. There's all over the place. Oregon, Colorado, Texas. So nice big scatter shot, which is really fun. So it'll be back on Bandcamp on September 4th. That's Bandcamp Friday. If you don't know about Bandcamp Friday, it's awesome. Bandcamp Friday is most every month, the first Friday of the month, Bandcamp says, artists, you get everything. And so they don't take a percentage fee for their platform services, which is pretty rad. I really admire Bandcamp for lots of reasons, but it'll be available through Bandcamp for shipping. Hopefully, still working on the logistics and details, but also hopefully available locally in Chattanooga and some of our record stores.
Great.
Nice.
And then, of course, at live shows, the most exciting of those for right now being on September 3rd at Redbud, 7 to 9 p.m., doors at 6. It's free admission. Because I just want everyone to come and be there and enjoy it.
I think that's great.
So it's like one last big financial, but I'm really excited, and I'm hoping to see a bunch of my friends there and a bunch of people that I don't know at all that are going to become my friends.
Let's go.
And that's the one I'm just stoked about. Redbud is a really special space. We could have a whole conversation about why. It's a building that I actually spent a significant amount of time in as a very small child in its previous life as basically a junkyard. So if you come, you'll have to ask Brent about the state in which he found that property and all the work that he did to kind of revitalize and revive it. But it was kind of a little bit of like a homecoming in some ways, just to be back in that space and see it have a new life, and in an album about places and new chapters that felt really perfect. And so yes, and then some touring things. All of that is on my website. Bands in Town is a good way to find that stuff, and then it also populates into Spotify. So there's just Google it up, Teni Rane. You'll find something. There's not a lot of Teni Ranes out there, so it's relatively easy to find as long as you spell it right. And if you ask Apple about it, she'll say Teni Rane, which is hilarious. Or Rane, it's Rane. It's like very like Rane, but it's funny. But yeah, I'm out there and I'm working hard. And
clearly,
and I'm excited for all of that to continue.
I hate to cut you off, but I think that blinking light means that
our batteries are about
we're about gone.
Well, hey,
this was fun.
It's still audio though, so we gotta keep going and do a clean finish.
Yep. Well, we appreciate it. Thanks for coming on.
So good to have you.
It was so lovely to be here.
Thank you.
Thank you. This was so much fun.
And thank you to Wavelength for letting us
Wavelength.
come into the
Beautiful
space. Come out, check out the art by Chase Williamson.
Yes.
Do you know how long that's going?
It's short-lived. They already had the opening. I think the closing is coming up quite soon.
Cool. And you
Don't
can
miss it. It's beautiful.
It's beautiful.
You can find information, I believe, on their Facebook and website,
Yes.
Wavelength Space, Chattanooga.
Yep.
So anyway, thanks for hanging out with us. We'll see you on the next one.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you all for having me.
Bye.